Hello and welcome to CSV's Quality TV show. I'm Ryan.
And I am Dori. Today we are talking about drugs and the role they play in our society.
We have a great selection of short films, projects for you to enjoy and watch, 2 musical performances.
We will also have the local news report with Steph and a very special guest called Eric, who is also a long-standing volunteer of CSV Media Preston.
If at any point in the show you would like to make a comment, please raise your hand in the studio or email contact@csv.org.uk if you are watching us online.
So let's get started. First of all, we have words from the people of Preston. EVS volunteer Hulu and CSV volunteers Charlotte and Steph collaborated to test the public's knowledge on drugs and find out what they really think.
I know that you've got your Class A's, which are your serious drugs like your coke and your heroin, and I know that it goes down to things like Class B's and Class C's. Things like cannabis are going to be much lower down.
Yeah, not very much. Not very much. Yeah, and I know, I'm aware of it.
School.
It just seems to be more general knowledge. The dealing is up to 30 years and 5 years.
I don't know. I'm going to average it out at 5. If it was Class A, I'd probably be quite concerned.
Yeah.
If it was lower down, then my own personal opinion is that you deal with them differently.
Don't have advice to give them, well, just tell them it's stupid.
I would find out why they were doing it and what motivates them to do it first.
I think you need to start telling people from quite a young age. I'm not talking like kids, I'm talking like teenagers, and not to avoid the situation. I think the issue that it's a taboo is probably the problem for a lot of people.
No, I don't know, it just depends on the background, I guess, of the child, I don't know, person. So.
A difficult life situation, you might have a tendency towards addiction anyway, or you might just be a bit of a rebel, I don't know. There's lots of reasons why people do that. That's just too personal to ask again.
There's emotional reasons, there's the reasons that just in this culture it's cool to do drugs. There's reasons, occupational reasons.
No, I don't think that makes a difference. I think if you're going to do drugs, it doesn't really matter what you do for a living. I think it's just a tendency you have to do that.
I think it's more about press and glamour, isn't it? So all these celebrities taking it, so you've got Peter Dunne, Amy Winehouse, people think it's cool.
Yeah, depression's quite a big reason for why people turn to stuff like that, but then that turns back to sort of if your life situations and you haven't had that support, you haven't had that ability to look for other avenues of escapism. I'm not sure how you view it, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a big reason. If the fact that you've got family troubles, one option is to drink or to get high, just to get away from it all. Generally, the long-term effects, because when you're young, it might seem like nothing, but when you're older, nearly all like drugs that I know have probably mental and psychological side effects. No, I don't know, just...
That was very interesting to watch.
Okay. Yeah, it isn't often that you're asked to be honest on the spot about something like that.
They all seemed like really genuine people. Next, we have a more formal interview arranged by Crystal.
She spoke with an ambassador for Drugline Lancashire about the problem drugs are causing within society.
Drugline Lancashire is a charity offering services for drug users, their families, friends and workers.
I think if we're looking now, we're at quite a changing period really of substance misuse. I think people will more commonly think of things like crack cocaine and heroin, and they'd be the most sort of problematic users. If we sort of go back to the 80s, that tends to be the one that sort of gets all the attention. If we're looking at now, we're moving into a different generation now, and a different generation of substance users. Our heroin and our crack users are getting older. A lot of them, we've got very high numbers of them actually in treatment, and at the moment it's just trying to keep them in treatment, move them through treatment into recovery and regeneration. But we've then got a new generation of people coming forward, and that new generation is slightly more complex and we're needing to respond quite differently. So at the moment it's called the ACE agenda. So that includes everything around alcohol, amphetamines, cocaine, cannabis, ecstasy and legal highs. And they're very different substances to what a lot of treatment services have been adapted to support. The difficulty is not knowing why for some people they will happily, have a drink at a weekend and no problems occur, why some people may recreationally get involved in use, while others will quite quickly get problems with the use, whatever those problems are, be that health issues or psychological, physical problems, or get involved with the criminal justice system. So it's quite a complicated picture. You can begin to look at certain things that might make people more vulnerable, but you've got to be careful that people don't necessarily follow that course. It can be because of how people are feeling themselves, people self-medicating because of things like depression. It might be because of where they live, their parents' involvement in substances, their community's involvement in substances. It might be that there's been a trauma, they've suffered a bereavement, they're homeless, they're being exploited in other ways. So it might be that for all those people, increased vulnerabilities might happen, which might mean they're more likely to get involved in substances or more likely to incur problems from them. But I think we've got to be quite careful. Everybody is potentially vulnerable. I think we've got to be careful when we're looking at negative effects. For some people in the past, we've always given messages out, drugs are bad, don't do drugs, you'll end up like this, and given very, very negative pictures, you will die. And I think when we're giving those pictures out for a lot of people involved in substances, they can't relate to that because that's not what they're doing and not what's happening to them. But I think when you're looking at the sorts of problems that can occur, I think we have to realise it can be absolutely down to that individual, and that's what you must see. You must see the individual and not the substance. For some people it's health issues, for some people it's family issues, for some people it's getting involved in the criminal justice system, for some people it's their mental well-being. An absolute whole range of different things may happen to different people because of the substances that they're involved with. I think for an individual, there's just sometimes just looking at a trigger which may actually cause somebody then to want to come into treatment or to be able to get help. And again, that could be from a range of things. That might be because somebody's got arrested, it might be that they've just got fed up with the use, it might be that the family and loved ones around them are pushing them forward really to get help. So there's lots of different reasons why people might then come forward for help. But I think one of our greatest difficulties are the barriers that might stop that. And the barriers, to be honest, a lot of it is within our society. We stigmatise drug users, we stigmatise their families, we stigmatise their communities. So it makes it even harder to be able to come forward. And I think that's, I say, a big challenge we have, as well as making sure our services are accessible and meeting all the needs of the users as they walk through the door. It isn't just about meeting their substance issues, it's looking at the family situation, their home, their employment, and to give them hope and aspiration for the future, and that they can move forward through this problem time and be able to be offering something back into the community later on.